Here at the offices of Scarce City. I am Chris Tremount, Chief Executive Pleb at Scarce City. We're getting real crazy with you today. We are streaming on Spaces at the same time as we're streaming on YouTube and Twitter. So we got the video going on, we got the audio going on two different devices. We'll see how this works out. So first time, please be patient with us if we screw it up. I'm going to welcome on our special guest, Marcus Connor, here in a second. He will be telling us all about the history of the Rollercoaster guy and his newest piece, All Time High. Before we bring him on, I'll just do a quick introduction on how our auctions work at Scarce City. We are now accepting bids. If you want to place a bid, just go to scarce.city. It's the first big button you'll see, All Time High. This is a 48-hour auction. We're accepting bids for the next 48 hours. If you want to place a bid, scroll down, input how much you want to bid in sats. We tell you how many US dollars that amount in sats is, and we tell you how much collateral you'll have to put down with that bid. That collateral, that's what keeps you accountable for your bid if you win the auction, and everybody gets their collateral back once the auction's over and paid for. Otherwise, we just need your email address and a bidder name, and you'll pay your invoice and you're good to go. Lightning is the easiest way to do this, but if you're serious about this auction, I suggest registering, logging in, and putting down a one-time deposit of 500,000 sats. That'll give you unlimited bids. So it's one deposit, it can be on-chain, Lightning, and you're set from there. All right, we already have one bid on the scoreboard. Mars in for 100,000 sats. And without further ado, I'm going to welcome on our special guest, Marcus Connor. Marcus, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks for making this happen. Thanks for being patient with this this new setup we got here.
Yeah, we're on the cutting edge here.
Sure are. It'd be great if someone created an app so we could do this all through one device, one platform. But until then, we got multiple wires going. You've got like 3 headphones on somehow.
Yep.
But so far it's sounding good on my end. Hopefully it's sounding okay for those listening in as well.
Yeah, I'm connected. I'm fully connected right now.
Sure are. All right, Marcus. Well, look, we've chatted a bunch of times, and maybe some people listening have heard the story, but for those who have not, and even for those who have, it's always a great story to hear. Tell us about how you created this little guy.
Sure. So actually, now that it is November of 2021, I'm in Bitcoin 10 years this month. 10 years ago, I got my first Bitcoin. It was given to me online. Unfortunately, I didn't go all in right away. Bitcoin was a little challenging to buy back then, and I was busy with other things, so I didn't actually acquire any more Bitcoin for like a year. But anyway, another year went by, and I did start to get into Bitcoin, tiptoeing in. Again, I didn't go all in. I was tiptoeing in, but it didn't take long for me to be riding the roller coaster. I mean, the price of admission is just buy some Bitcoin and you're on the ride. The price is going up, the price is going down, and your emotions are right there with you. And everybody, of course, was talking about this roller coaster ride being the price, taking our emotions with it. And at the time, I was doing a daily webcomic. I drew a single panel webcomic for 9 years straight. And so that was like kind of in the middle of me doing that comic. I was inspired to create the Bitcoin roller coaster. And when I created him, I wanted it to be, colored and animated, and it didn't quite fit the theme of my daily. So it was not actually part of my daily webcomic. The comic was called Brainless Tales. So it was really just for Bitcoiners. And I actually did incorporate some Bitcoin into my daily comic back then, so it's not that it was completely divorced, but the roller coaster certainly was a separate thing, and I released it to the world. I took it to Bitcoin Talk forums, and there's a couple comments about it there, and I put it on Reddit, and it got downvoted to 0 immediately. and that's where it remains today, downvoted to 0. It's really special. I wear that as a badge of honor. Yeah, it was just that, I created him, and then it was a little while later, some other people did start to share him and started to take him on some new rides themselves, right? So some people remixed him and had him going down and then going up and going flat. And so he really became a meme because he spoke to some Bitcoiners, and they wanted to keep him going. And so I'm very grateful for the people that have kept him going all this time.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's awesome. There's actually a few things I want to unpack there. So starting with congratulations on your 10-year anniversary being into Bitcoin.
Thank you.
And I saw you put out a tweet today about who actually gave you your first Bitcoin. Do you want to share that story?
Sure. Yeah, it was Roger Ver. Well, I'm always unsure how to pronounce his last name. Obviously, most people know him, big name in the space, and I know a lot of people don't like him, and that's that's okay. But the reality is, he gave me my first Bitcoin, and he was a big promoter back then. He was just pushing Bitcoin hard, and so if you were listening at all, you probably heard from him, and he inspired me to download the original client in order to post my public address so that he could send me a Bitcoin. It was just a post on a forum. Basically said the first whatever 10 people or whatever that post their public address, I'll send you a Bitcoin. And that's what I did. That's what inspired me to download. I think it was called Bitcoin QT, the main client. And yeah, so that's how I got my first Bitcoin. I think I got like a little tiny bit too from maybe a faucet. The faucets were already not giving away one Bitcoin in late 2011, but yeah. So that's how I got started, and then it just kind of sat there for a year until I kind of got reanimated when I moved to New Hampshire, the live free or die state, where liberty lives. So after I moved to New Hampshire, I met up with a lot of liberty-minded people and really got into the Bitcoin space. Started, going to meetups and stuff about Bitcoin. So it was like Bitcoin everywhere, at that point. And that's when I was really able to get a hold of, getting into the space. And but it was different. It was very different back then. I mean, I sent money into this new exchange. And got my money in there. I was all excited. I'm going to buy some Bitcoin. And then they got shut down. The government shut this exchange down before I bought any Bitcoin. And I didn't get my money back for I don't know, 6 or 8 months. I mean, luckily I did get my money back, but, that's kind of how it was back then. It was a little, Wild West.
I mean, it still feels like the Wild West today. So I can only imagine how it felt 9 years ago.
Yeah, for sure.
Congrats to you for holding on to that Bitcoin that was given to you 10 years ago. I'm sure a lot of people were in a similar situation and just lost those keys.
Yeah, I think I know that happened. I mean, I know somebody who had a bunch of Bitcoin and locked it up real nice and tight, and too tight he forgot his password and everything, and so all kinds of things people lost them in various ways. So for sure, a lot of Bitcoin has been lost to time.
That's right. So what I also want to talk about is, all right, so the original post of the roller coaster guy infamously got voted down to 0 on Reddit.
Yes.
What changed? Like with the second post or whatever it was, why do you think it took off and initially didn't catch on?
Well, like anything in life, when you have a failure, the best thing you can do after you cry, is to learn from it. First you cry, and then you learn, why did that get downvoted to 0, right? Like, what the heck, man? And so I learned I think it was downvoted because I failed to communicate effectively what my post was. I was just going with this mindset of I'm just going to put this here. And I think I just titled it Bitcoin Rollercoaster, and then the GIF. And it's nobody knew, whoever first saw me post it was like, here's some idiot just reposting something, boring,
Uh,
so I learned like, wow, like they, of course, that's the assumption when somebody posts something, especially on Reddit, you think like, oh, this person found this somewhere. They're just sharing it. They're just resharing it, reposting. Everything's a repost, everything's a
mm,
repost. I should have said, I made this, and I didn't.
mm,
And actually, if anybody cares to analyze my tweets, you'll see that I almost always specify that I made whatever it is I'm sharing. And that's because, I'm not famous, even though the Bitcoin roller coaster guy is certainly well known. Me as a person, I'm not famous. So if I communicate effectively in my tweet or whatever it is to say, like, I made this, people do care. People actually do care when you make something. That it gets people to go like, oh, I'm interested now. This is a real story. It's a human story. It's this person sharing something that they created. It's instantly just more, more interesting. So that's what I learned from that. And luckily, even though it was downvoted to 0 and then thereby other people just didn't see it, luckily some people did see it, whether it was on Reddit or on Bitcoin Talk. And one of the first places it showed up was on Bitcoinity, which I love Bitcoinity. It's a price site, and they always, when there's really crazy price action, the site like expands down and they will show a GIF for a little bit. And it was a point where the price was like crashing from like $400 or something like that. I don't know, maybe not even that much. And my friend Mandrick saw my appear and he like screenshotted it for me and sent it to me. Mandrick's very well known for his George's Famous Baklava, which he sold for Bitcoin, and he's back selling it again, so you can get some now. Relive some of the early days. So it's just that I failed to communicate effectively when I posted that. That's what I think that's how I think it got downvoted.
well, that's interesting because it almost seems like the meme was so good that even though people were seeing it for the first time, they thought maybe they had seen it before if they assumed there was a copy.
Maybe. Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
it certainly wasn't fun for me that first day, but
yeah,
but you know what? I brushed it off because I was drawing and publishing every single day. I published
yeah,
every single day for 9 years straight. So, and I sometimes would read comments about my comics on other sites, and they would be terrible. People are just brutal, because these are people that don't create anything. They're just, and they're not thinking that the creator is reading the comments anyway. So, it's different. Online is a different kind of space. You have to kind of take it that way. But you get a tough skin when you're a creator. And I've been creating art and music my whole life. You have to have some bit of a tough skin, but still remain, an emotional and sensitive guy at the same time.
yeah, absolutely. I definitely understand that.
Yeah.
All right, so now you talked about, okay, once the roller coaster guy took off, everybody started to create their own, and I think the way you handled this is really special because some people would have reacted maybe antagonistically and said, whatever, copyright, tell people to take it down, but you took a more kind of open approach and it seems like just let people do their thing, and you weren't like taking royalties or anything. And I think this is super interesting in the digital age. This is like a hot topic even today about like copyright of digital art. um can you just share your perspective on that?
Yeah, for sure. So my thoughts on this are nuanced, I will say. Um, I am somebody that, my general philosophy in life is that people should do their best to be good people. We should be kind and thoughtful, caring, and, do what we think is right. Treat other people the way that we want to be treated. I'm generally not a big fan of government, just because I don't think, I think that the way that government solves problems is through force, and I think that people should not be using force to solve problems if at all possible. So, so from that perspective, And then also taking into consideration that we're talking about art and creativity and how people interact with it. I'm happy that people decided to take him on these journeys. And, the reality is if people didn't remix him and reshare him, well, then it would just be lost to time. People wouldn't care, but people do care, and they care because of all the sharing and remixing that has happened. So I'm grateful for that. And with that, though, I am the artist, and I think that people care about who the original artist is, and I think people are willing to. I mean, I know that some people are willing to pay, money to the original artist for new art, related art, and that I'm really happy about. I think that we should try to, as much as we can, support the artists that bring great stuff to us. So I don't necessarily like to pin myself down and saying like, oh, this should definitely be this or that, other than to say that like, yeah, let's just be good people and and try to reward those who we think could benefit from that reward, for one reason or another, being creator of something or what have you. I mean, it even goes beyond art. Look at, there's a lot of people out there doing coding and things like this where they're contributing important code that helps so many businesses and people succeed, and many of them don't get compensated. And I think it's something to look at, and we should, if we're benefiting from that code, we should try to pay back at least a little bit to those type of people as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've come to the belief that internet digital media has kind of flipped the copyright argument on its head, where it's this is the meme economy. The more attention an artwork gets, the more valuable it ultimately becomes. Now, of course, there's plenty of challenges that come with that, specifically if there's any confusion about who the original creator is. But
Yes.
as long as it's very clear who the original creator is, you know, there's always going to be value in derivatives of that work that come from the original creator, versus the copycats. And the copycats, they just amplify the meme, which just creates more potential value for that original creator. And I think whether that was like your intention or not, it seems extremely prescient how you handled that. Because
Yeah, I mean,
go
it
ahead.
wasn't my intention to, to create a meme or to foster a meme. That was
Yeah,
never my intention. And it was just that, when people started sharing, it was like, oh wow, look at that. That's awesome. Like, I mean, it's it's exciting because like I said, I have been creating art and music my whole life. I grew up an artist. My father had a master's in fine arts, and so I just grew up around it, and just drawing right from the get-go. And to see people enjoying something I created in one way or another, it's really rewarding. It feels good to, because that's, I want people to be happy. I want to help people be happy if I can. And just seeing people enjoying something I created is awesome. And then, and then interacting with it. And I guess it comes down to the intention too. The people who are remixing this are doing it because they're just happy to do it. They're not doing it for money or monetary gain. They're not trying to steal anything from me. They're just
yeah,
enjoying it. They're having a good time. They get it. Like the people who remix this totally got it. Like they're like, oh, I get it. And they change his face a little bit and have him going flat or down, whatever it is that he's doing. And it's, yeah, it's just super cool. And it's like, it's a great and magical time to be an artist, I would say.
that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So before we jump into the story behind all time high, I do want to check in on the auction. We have a little bit of a bidding war going.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Wow.
see, a few familiar names here. Um, you know, uh, I've actually met at least some of these people that are bidding. Some really cool, amazing people. Um, so that's very fun for me to see.
I've never seen a beginning quite like this out of all the auctions it's been Mars and FF Mad, and of course, Crypto Graffiti and Jeff making the cameo early on.
Yeah.
But now FF Mad just dropped the hammer with 0.15 BTC, and then Mars responds right back with the 0.155 BTC or so. That
Oh my goodness.
for those doing the math, we're almost at 9,000 USD just 20 minutes into this thing. Wow.
Yeah.
All
Wow.
right. So let's talk about all time high. What was the idea for this? What's the inspiration?
Oh yeah, well, I don't think it takes a rocket scientist, to figure out what the inspiration here is, right? I mean, there's no better high than a Bitcoin all-time high price, right? Like, oh my goodness, and the that feeling of euphoria, your head becomes smoky really when that price hits that high, and I love a good pun and some good wordplay. And, I just thought like, well, what is the latest variant of the Bitcoin roller coaster, that's going to infect some people, and it just so happened that, he was hitting his own all-time high, and he's just, so it just felt like the right thing to do. I mean, it's maybe a little risque for him to be, going this way, but it's all in the name of fun, that's what upsetting the economic world is about. It's about having fun. That's what Bitcoin is about. It's about having fun. When we're living in this crazy world right now, that we need to, or at least we should, try to break free of those troubles and enjoy ourselves. So that's what he's doing. That's the current variant of the roller coaster guy. And as you can see, he's on the wall behind me. For anybody that's actually watching the live stream, if you're on Spaces, just know he's hanging on the wall right now. So
yeah, he's looking good up there, and it's definitely worth, maybe at some point, Marcus, you can give us a kind of a zoomed out picture, because the scale there, it's actually larger than what I expected just from looking at the image, the close up images.
yeah, it's I'll try to, I'm trying to get a little closer here. I'll back up. It's 12 inches by 12 inches by 1 inch. So the canvas itself is stretched around a 1 inch, frame. So what's cool about it is that the paint goes all the way around the edges. So if anybody that's looking at the pictures online, you can see how these different colors and stuff just wrap right around. And I think it really gives it a really cool effect. And I already have, some mounting hardware behind her, obviously, to hang it up, because it's hanging up right now. It has a lot of detail in there. It's very organic. The background is very, very organic. There's all kinds of different colors and shades and details that I see new things every time I look at it. It's like you really need to get close to it to see. That's why I do have some close-up images in the rounds, like that one that you have pulled up right now.
Yeah.
You can really start to see some of these really unique and organic shapes. You see like faces and all kinds of different things in here. Probably some countries and states and who knows what else.
Oh wow, really?
Well, not. I'm just saying, not intentionally. It's just that there's so much going on. Like you just got to let your mind wander a little bit, and your brain reinterpret what it is and is not going on in there.
Okay. I'm starting to see that from staring at these close-ups.
Yeah, this painting, it's it's something that you can get lost in a little bit, and you can also have a good laugh at it too, which is the most important part.
It fits the theme perfectly.
Yeah.
Now this is a really unique style. Is there anything you can tell us about how you actually created this?
Yeah, sure. So this is with acrylic paint, and this is actually the background of this was created first before he was put on the canvas,
Hmm.
and it's using some different pouring techniques. So I actually started with a bunch of black paint on there, and the paint actually has to be, diluted with some special stuff to make it easily pourable. And then I used a bunch of different colors and layered them up. And then after the paint is poured using some different stuff, then it's moved around, and then I actually used a straw to blow some of the paint. Um, and it basically it lays on the canvas in all these different colored layers, and as it moves around, the different colors are revealed, and some of them bubble through and then blow with the straw, and it creates some different things. So it's really uncontrollable organic painting process for that background. And the reality is I did a bunch of these. I did a bunch of these. I have a bunch of these, but I needed to I needed to find the right one. And so I started small, actually just doing some tests first, but then I got big, and yeah, so I needed, it was not like a one and done. It was like, I've got a stack of these now. So I just had to find like the right one. And this was it. It was like right there. And it was like, oh my goodness. Like after it was created, it was just worked perfectly with the colors, the way they wrap around him and everything. And he was able to fit in there, anyway, in a way that just worked really well. And then I finished with the all-time high, the words all-time high, and then, kind of got them to fit in there. Just, it ended up, I think it worked out really well.
Yeah, no, it really did. It fits the theme perfectly. And I imagine with that process, there's a decent amount of randomness that comes with it.
There's a lot of randomness. That's why I end up doing a bunch. And also, I needed to get the right mixture, because there's a lot of different colors in here, but ultimately I wanted it to look green. Green candles get you an
Right.
all-time high. So he is just floating in a world of green right now. But there's blues in there, and teal and yellow, and so there's a number of different shades and colors going on in there. So I love it. I mean, I'm really happy with how it came out. I had to do, like I said, I end up doing a lot of canvases to find this one.
Yeah,
So I'm very happy with how it came out.
that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
It's almost like the physical production of I'm blanking on the term right now, but what's the uh, digital art technique of using code to create random images?
Yeah.
And
I don't. I know what you're saying, but I don't know what it's called off the
yeah,
top of
I'm
my
totally
head.
blanking
But
on it, but it's all the rage right now in
yeah,
in some worlds. But you've kind of
right.
done like the real world version of it here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, and then even where it says all time high, um, I really wanted it to, there's a juxtaposition of the background to the Bitcoin roller coaster guy, where that he's very much staying in his very pretty close to his true form. He is painted, and there's some different tones and things for sure, but he's still very much in his true form. And the words, I after I got this to where it was, I really wanted them to really blend in with the organicness. So the way that they're painted on was, I actually put some paint on there and then used a straw to blow it out. So all
Hmm.
the words, they're not really painted with a brush. It was
Hmm.
paint put on and then blown with a straw in the different directions. So it really like kind of
Wow.
branches out and creates this really unique way of, so there was also quite a bit of randomness there. Obviously I was able to control it to a certain degree so it could be readable, and then a little bit of brushing here and there just to blend it right and you know, I use a number of different techniques, but it was a really fun painting to make. You know, I got to really explore some unique things.
Yeah, it
So,
definitely adds a level of appreciation, understanding the process and how many iterations you went through. Generative art, that was the term I was looking for.
yes, yes, this is the IRL of generative art, I
I love
suppose.
it, man. I love it. All right, Marcus. So I know you're always, you're really exploring your art these days. So I'm sure you have a ton of things you're working on. Is there anything you can share regarding the roller coaster guy or otherwise that you have planned?
Well, right at this moment, I don't really want to share too much about the artwork that's coming, but you know, I will say that you know gonna have I'm dedicating more time in the very near future to art. So I'm hoping that you know within the next couple months here, I'll be you know really being able to have some more output and really want to create some things that will be more accessible to more people. So,
Hmm.
you know, I really enjoyed the art that I've done so far this year, the sculptures and this painting. You know, also did a skateboard for the Tony Hawk thing. But they're all one of a kinds, and one of a kinds are great. And I'm going to keep doing one of a kinds because you know it's fun. But I also want to do some series work. So that's on the slate for 2022 is series work, so that you know hopefully prices can be more accessible to more people because you know I think more people want to have something you know Bitcoin roller coaster guy. So that's
Everybody
what's
needs
on
a
the
piece.
plan.
Everybody needs a
Yeah,
piece of the roller coaster guy.
yeah, yeah, for
Awesome,
sure.
man. Well, where should people go to stay up to date with this newest project and future works?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, follow me on Twitter if you're not following me on Twitter. Marcus Connor NH, NH for New Hampshire, um, or you know, my website is bitcoincoaster.com. So you know, those are the main places where you can find me. Also, of course, you know, you can find me in Telegram, hanging out in the Scarce City Banter channel, of course, all the time there. You know, but those are really where I'm hanging out.
Awesome,
Um,
man.
yeah.
All right,
So
Marcus. Well, it's a pleasure as always to speak with you. Congrats on the early success of this auction.
yeah,
Uh,
thank you to the bidders. I mean, I can't believe it's off to you know an amazing start. Thank you to everybody so far that has bid. I you know it means a lot to me. I really appreciate the support that the Bitcoiners have been showing for me. So thank you so much. It's great.
awesome, man. All right, Marcus. Thank you so much, buddy. We'll check in with you soon.
All right, cool. Thanks for having me on, Chris.
All right. See ya.
All right, see ya.
All right, if you're still with us, I will give you a quick one more time demo on the auction. Actually, before I do it, let's check in here because this auction has gone crazy early. So the current top bid is 22.5 million sats or 0.225 BTC or 13,000 USD. Mars is the top bidder right now. Mars is in an early bidding war with FF Mad. Uh, I mean, I can't count the bids here. It's over 10 bids on the board here in just under, under 40 minutes. So it's getting intense and it's getting intense early. It's going to be super interesting to see how this one progresses over the next 47 and some change hours. Now, if you want to go head to head with Mars and FF Mad, go to Scarce.city, go to the first big button you see, All Time High by Marcus Connor. Scroll down a little bit and input your bid in sats. We tell you how much those sats are in USD, and we tell you how much collateral in BTC you'll have to put down with your deposit. That's what keeps you accountable for actually paying your bid should you win without forcing you to put up all that money up front. Of course, once the auction's over, everybody gets their collateral back. Otherwise, we just need your email address and a bidder name to submit the bid. If you are serious about this, and look, if you're bidding at this point, then you better be serious about it because you're going against pretty serious bidders. The best approach here really is to just put down 500,000 sats and you unlock unlimited bids. So to do that, just register, log in. We make it as easy as we possibly can. You can pay, you can do that on chain. You can do it over Lightning, and you're one invoice and done. You don't have to worry about it from there on out. Lightning is accepted throughout the auction. On-chain bids, on-chain deposits are accepted up until the final 10 minutes of the auction. Of course, keep in mind with on-chain bids, you're going to be paying more fees on those as well. If you do have any questions, we are easy to find. Contact information on the site. But what you really should do is get into the Scarcity Banter Telegram channel. You get all the auction updates in there. Maybe Marcus will be dropping some artist exclusives in the chat. And you get all of the banter from the Banter channel, some priceless gifts, lots of lulls to be had here. And you can also ask us any questions about the auctions there. All right, y'all. Thanks so much for tuning in. Enjoy the auction, and we'll catch you soon. Thank you.